Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu các bạn nhé. Đợi đi các bạn.
Hello.
Xin chào các bạn.
Hello. Hello Summer. Hello Summer.
Xin chào các bạn.
Hello Summer.
Bị treo các bạn.
How are you today, Summer?
Good.
Do you play Halloween? Do you play Halloween with friends?
Dạ ok, bây giờ mình sẽ là bắt đầu các bạn. Hôm nay mình sẽ học đâu rồi? Hôm nay mình sẽ đọc về lễ hội gọi là Diwali. Chắc là các bạn biết, nhưng mà đấy là một lễ hội mà mỗi năm là người Ấn Độ sẽ có lễ hội đấy gọi là Diwali, và nó là 5 ngày ở trong Ấn Độ. Nên mình sẽ đọc về thế nhé các bạn. Diwali is an Indian holiday. It happens in October or November. Diwali là một lễ hội của Ấn Độ. Nó bắt đầu vào tháng 10 hay tháng 11. Lễ hội Diwali không có tên tiếng Việt, nó cũng chỉ gọi là lễ hội Diwali thôi các bạn. Many people in India celebrate Diwali. Diwali is India's most important holiday. Rất nhiều người ở Ấn Độ ở Ấn Độ có lễ hội Diwali. Diwali là lễ hội chính của Ấn Độ. Diwali is also called the Festival of Lights. Are an important part of the holidays. People light small oil lamps. Diwali cũng gọi là lễ hội nến. Nến là một phần chính của Diwali. Người ta sẽ ánh nến nhỏ. Diwali lasts 5 nights. People decorate the first 2 days. They put up lights. Diwali là lễ hội 5 ngày. 2 ngày đầu thì người ta sẽ bỏ đèn lên. The third day is the most important. People dress up. They gather with family. They say special prayers. Ngày thứ ba là xin lỗi các bạn đã biết Diwali là ngày thứ ba là quan trọng nhất. Rồi người ta sẽ mặc quần áo mới với lạy Phật nữa. Fireworks light up the sky. People get together to watch. People have a big feast with family. They eat sweet treats too. What other holidays include a big feast? The holiday has 2 more days. People stay with family and friends. People give gifts to each other. Lễ hội này có 2 ngày nữa. Người ta sẽ ấy với bạn và family của người đấy, rồi sẽ cũng đưa quà nữa. Diwali is a time to be happy. It is a celebration of good things in life. Diwali diyas. A diya is a small oil lamp. Diyas are usually made of clay. To celebrate Diwali, people light the wicks of the diyas. Mình sẽ đọc lại nhé. Các bạn có thể giơ tay nếu mà các bạn muốn đọc về Diwali, vì Diwali rất quan trọng với người Ấn Độ. Rất hay nữa. Các bạn có thể giơ tay nhé. Okay, cho bạn Xuân Nghi đọc nhé. Bạn Xuân Nghi.
Diwali. Diwali is an India holiday. It's happening afterwards on November.
Good job.
Many people in India celebrate Diwali. Diwali is India's most important holiday. Diwali is also called the festival of lights, and are an important part of the holiday. People light small oil làm. Diwali lasted 5 nights. People decorate the first 2 days. They place a light. The third day is most important. People dress up. They gather with family. They say special prayers. I'm nosy. Fireworks light up the sky. People get together to watch.
Ok, cảm ơn bạn. Nhưng bây giờ cho bạn một bài khác đọc.
Thank you.
Ok, bây giờ cho bạn khác đọc. Bây giờ cho bạn. Bây giờ cho bạn Nguyễn Ngọc Anh chút đẹp dày nhé.
Yes.
Then people have a big feast with family. They eat sweet treats too. Bạn có đọc được không?
Đọc ngắn cho em thôi chị ơi.
Okay. Then people have a big feast with family.
People have a feast with families.
They eat sweet treats too.
They eat sweet with you.
Too. The holiday has 2 more days.
The holiday has 2 more days.
People stay with family and friends.
People stay with family and friends.
People give gifts to each other.
People sit with father.
People give gifts to each other. Diwali is a time to be happy.
Diwali is a time to be happy.
It is a celebration of good things in life.
A celebration of the good things in us.
Diwali deer.
One in 10.
A deer is a small owl.
A season of Memorial Water.
Deers are usually made of clay.
It was woman like a place.
To celebrate Diwali, people light the wicks of the deers.
Yes.
People light the wicks.
This one I was. Yes.
Of the deers. Good job.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Bị sao rồi? Tiếng bị chào.
Chào các con.
Mình sẽ đọc vài quyển sách nữa về Diwali nhé các bạn.
Hello teacher.
Hello everyone. What is Diwali? Diwali is the Hindu New Year. It begins in fall. It lasts 5 days. 5 ngày nhé các bạn. Diwali là năm mới của người Ấn Độ. Nó bắt đầu trong mùa thu và nó là 5 ngày. Diwali means row of lights. What do we celebrate? We think about how light wins over darkness. Diwali nghĩa là rất nhiều đèn, rất nhiều nến. We get ready. Mom cleans the house. She buys fresh flowers. Now we can welcome Lakshmi. Mình sẽ chuẩn bị. Mẹ thì dọn dẹp nhà và mẹ cũng mua hoa mới nữa. Who is Lakshmi? She is the Hindu goddess of wealth. She brings good luck. Lakshmi là thế thì chị đọc chậm lại vậy. We light a diya. A diya is an oil lamp. The bright lights help Lakshmi find us. Diya là một cái nến nhỏ mà có một ít dầu ở trong để nó có thể có lửa ở trong. Ali and Roy sit on the floor. What are they making? A rangoli. It is art. Rangoli là như thế này nhé các bạn. Nó có rất nhiều màu và nó có lúc mà có hoa và nó có thể là người ta vẽ hay là người ta dùng hạt hay là người ta cũng có thể dùng hạt gạo để người ta rất nhiều hạt gạo rất nhỏ màu các màu khác nhau để có thể kiểu làm như thế này, nhưng mà nó rất lâu nhưng mà nó rất đẹp nha các bạn, rất nhiều màu. We shop, we buy new clothes, we buy gifts. Mình đi chợ, mình mua quần áo mới, mình mua quà. Gina eats laddu. It is sweet like cake. Yum! Gina ăn laddu, cái từ này không có. Cái từ này thì các bạn ơi không có không dịch tiếng Việt được vì Không biết tại sao không dịch tiếng Việt nhưng mà nó chỉ gọi là Dư thôi các bạn nhé, không dịch được tiếng Việt. Nó kiểu một cái kiểu hơi như nó hơi như một kiểu cái viên bánh ấy. Kiểu nó kiểu là một cái viên bánh gato ấy các bạn. Ở trong nhà nhé, nhưng mà nó là một kem. Maya has a sparkler. Look, fireworks. Happy Diwali. Thì mình sẽ đọc lại nha các bạn. Giờ mình sẽ xem một cái video rất vui. Vừa đọc xong. Sorry teacher, I'm late. What is Diwali? Diwali is the Hindu New Year. Begins. Đúng rồi, đọc rồi. Cho bạn đọc nhé. Bây giờ cho bạn Elsa đọc. Diwali is a Hindu New Year.
Diwali is the Hindu New Year.
It begins in fall. It lasts 5 days.
It begins in fall. It lasts 5 days.
Diwali means row of lights.
Diwali means row of lights.
What do we celebrate?
What do we celebrate? We think about how light wins over darkness.
That's right. Well done.
We get
Ready?
Mom clears the house with birds, fresh flowers. Now we come Lakshmi.
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 Who is Lakshmi? She is the Hindu goddess of wealth.
Who is Lakshmi? She is Hindu goddess of wealth. She brings good luck.
Well done.
We light a diya. A diya is an oil lamp.
Oil lamp. The bright lights help Lakshmi find us.
The bright lights help Lakshmi find us.
Ok, cảm ơn bạn nhé. Cho một bạn đọc nữa quyển sách này nhé. Okay, bây giờ cho bạn Denisa và bạn Kitty đọc. Denisa and Kitty. Bạn Denisa và bạn Denisa and Kitty có muốn đọc không? Bạn Denise và Kitty, okay. Ali and Roy sit on the floor. Bạn nào?
Dạ mà Dương mấy danh vậy.
Bạn Denise và Kitty. Denise and Kitty. Bạn đọc được không? Ali and Roy sit on the floor. Bạn đọc theo nhé. Ali and Roy sit on the floor. Bạn có thể đọc theo. Ali and Roy sit on the floor. Bạn Denise Kitty, bạn có thể đọc không? Hay là mình có thể chọn? Ok, không sao nhé. Mình sẽ chọn một bạn khác đọc. Xin lỗi bạn. Thế thì bạn có thể. Ok, bây giờ cho bạn khác đọc. Bây giờ cho bạn Josie đọc nhé.
Yes.
Ali and Roy sit on the floor. What are they making?
Ali and Roy sit on the floor. What are they making?
A rangoli. It is art.
A rangoli. It is art.
We shop. We buy new clothes.
We shop. We buy a new clothes.
We buy gifts.
We buy gifts.
Gina eats laddu.
Gina eats a
Laddu.
laddu.
It is sweet like cake. Yum!
It is sweet like cake. Yum!
Maya has a sparkler.
Maya, a sparkler. Look, fireworks. Happy hour.
Symbols of Diwali.
Huh?
Symbols of Diwali. Lakshmi.
Symbol of a garlic. Sweet. Yes. Bạn có laddu.
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 Okay. Mình sẽ trong một cái video thì mình sẽ đọc một cái kiến thức nữa rồi mình sẽ làm quiz với các bạn, nhưng mà mình phải xem về video này đó. Các bạn có thấy không? Đợi tí các bạn. Đâu rồi nè, tìm một tí. Nothing.
Why nothing?
Yên sẽ học về Diwali nhé các bạn.
Long ago in India, there was a great warrior prince named Ram.
Các bạn có thể nghe rồi các bạn sẽ học thêm về Diwali nhé.
Ram was banished from his country by his father, King Dashrath. The king told Ram that he could only come back after living in the forest for 14 years. While in the forest, his wife Sita was kidnapped by the 10-headed demon king, Ravan. But Ram rescued her with the help of his brother and the monkey general Hanuman, and eventually returned to his homeland. When Ram returned, people were overjoyed and celebrated by lighting their homes with lamps, decorating the whole city, and setting off fireworks. This is the story of the beginning of Diwali. Diwali, also known as the Festival of Lights, is a festival mainly celebrated by Hindus, people who follow the religion of Hinduism, but is also celebrated by Buddhists, Jains, and Sikhs. It celebrates the triumph of good over evil, joy over despair, and light over darkness, and is considered the most important holiday of the year. The tale of how Diwali came to be celebrated differs across India. But the story of Ram you just heard is the most common version. The festival of Diwali occurs on the 15th of the Hindu month Kartik, which is the holiest month of the Hindu lunar calendar. It usually occurs in October or November. There are many different traditions that take place during Diwali. One of these is lighting a row of clay lamps outside the home. These special lamps are called diyas, and their light symbolizes purity, good luck, and power. It is believed that the presence of light drives away darkness and evil forces. Along with lighting diyas, each home is thoroughly cleaned to welcome positivity, and the windows are opened to let in Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth and good fortune. It is believed that she can only enter homes that are clean and illuminated, which is another reason people light their diyas. One of the more artistic traditions is the creation of Rangoli. It's a beautiful pattern created on floors using coloured rice, sand, flour, or flower petals. They are believed to bring good luck and are used to welcome guests and the goddess Lakshmi.
Sẽ xem loại mà người ta nói là Rangoli là dùng cái gì để làm?
And flower or flower petals. They are believed to bring good luck and are used to welcome guests and the goddess Lakshmi. During Diwali, you will also see people lighting firecrackers and sparklers to scare away evil spirits with their bright colours and loud noises. Like many other celebrations around the world, Diwali sees family and friends exchange gifts and share a feast together. Lots of delicious sweets and snacks are prepared for Diwali. Look at all these traditional sweets. Everyone celebrates special days in their own way, and these are just some of the common ones seen during Diwali, as celebrated by Hindus. During Diwali, you can say Happy Diwali, which is a greeting to those who celebrate it. Perhaps you can even keep an eye out for beautiful diyas, light displays and fireworks that commemorate this special festival.
Bây giờ các bạn biết thêm một ít về Diwali, mình sẽ đọc một quyển sách nữa. Mình sẽ làm quiz nhé các bạn. Mai. Diwali is a Hindu holiday. It is in the fall. It lasts for 5 days. 5 ngày. It is called the Festival of Lights. Nó cũng gọi là lễ hội đèn. Apple lights an oil lamp. It is called a diya. There is music. Jade dances. Adi does special art. It is called Rangoli.
Hello.
Kiara watches fireworks. Gani's family is together. They have a feast. Leah loves Diwali. Dias, family feast, fireworks, Rangoli. Đó là quyển sách nhanh là mình có thể đọc lại rồi mình sẽ có thêm thời gian cho quiz nhé. Chọn hai bạn. Thầy cho bạn Johnny nhịp cầu sinh ngữ đọc.
Yes. Diwa is a Hindu. Yes.
Diwali.
Diwali is a Hindu holiday. Hindu holiday. It's in the fall. It lasts for 5 days. It is called the Festival of Lights. A bell lights in a oil lamp is called diya. There is music. Jade dances. Adi the special art is called Rangoli. Tyra watches fireworks. Ghana's family together. They have
A feast. Bạn có thể tiếp tục.
Yes, they love Diwali.
Bạn có thể đọc phần này được không?
Dears.
Family feast.
Family feasts.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. Rangoli.
Thêm lại thì chị phải mở cái quiz ra rồi mình có thể làm lại tí.
Chị Summer Nguyên ơi, sao tất cả mọi người tắt camera hết, chỉ có mỗi mình chị mới mở camera thôi vậy? Đang ở chế độ tập trung mà.
Con mở camera được nè. Chị Summer, biết lên nói đi.
Chị cứ từ từ thôi, không cần vội. Là wow. Đừng có hối. Chị cứ từ từ thôi, không cần vội.
Rồi nói, chị lại vội thêm.
Where is our question?
Lâu quá. Đừng có hối.
Làm vậy chị càng chậm hơn á.
Đấy. Share screen. Share screen đâu rồi? Alexa, skip.
Here's The Dragon Games, Chapter 1. Presented by Amazon Storytime.
Alexa, this chapter.
Don't know that one.
I don't know what happened. So dropping it too much cotton candy.
Not all. It's just
Oh dear.
it's not a chicken. Mixed with a chicken. Well, we tried to order you a but we didn't have enough cash for a plane. So we got a not him until you try him. What's that horrible smell? His instructions say to accept a few very tasty ingredients. So it's a giant farming chicken. Awesome. Would I better put that in? Those were on sale.
Maybe, I don't know. Cái của chị không save được là mình phải làm cái quiz khác nhưng mà vẫn về được vali. Cái quiz của chị không save được các bạn. Yes.
Presented by Amazon.
Các bạn vào trong chat nhé. Các bạn bấm cái link ở trong chat nhé. Mình sẽ bắt đầu với các bạn. Nếu mà các bạn không vào được, các bạn có thể bỏ answers vào chat. Diwali originates from Japan, India, Indonesia or Sri Lanka. Là Diwali là từ nước nào? Từ Ấn Độ, từ Nhật Bản. Từ nước nào các bạn? Các bạn có thể bỏ vào chat nếu mà các bạn không vào được nhé. India. Rational line là đầu tiên. Diwali cũng gọi là gì? Diwali, Holi, Navratri hay là Festival of Light? Diwali cũng gọi là gì các bạn? Rational line vẫn là đầu tiên. Người nào cũng có lễ hội của Diwali, trừ người Sikh, người Muslim, người Jain thành người Buddhist. Rational line là đầu tiên, bây giờ creative person là đầu tiên. Why is Diwali celebrated? Các bạn có thể bấm hơn một cái nhé. Tất cả là đúng. When is Diwali usually celebrated? March, December, October or November? Nếu mà các bạn nhớ thì Diwali là thực ra là ngày hôm qua, là nó là bình thường nó là tháng 11 hay tháng 10 các bạn. Diwali nghĩa là gì? A row of lighted lamps, the triumph of good over evil, another word for goddess Lakshmi, or the return of Rama. Là Diwali nghĩa là là một rất nhiều đèn hay là Diwali miễn?
Chapter 4 by Marianne Mancusi, presented by Amazon Storytime.
Diwali usually are lost. Bao nhiêu ngày các bạn nhớ không? Mình đọc rất nhiều lần về nó. Diwali là bao nhiêu ngày? Diwali là bao nhiêu ngày các bạn? Các bạn có thể bỏ vào chat nhé. Các bạn có nhớ Diwali là bao nhiêu ngày không? 3 ngày, 10 ngày, 1 tháng hay là 5 ngày? Đúng rồi, 5 ngày. Diwali là 5 ngày, mình đọc rất nhiều lần các bạn. Chính xác 5 ngày. Okay, mình sẽ xem nhé. Rational Lion là thứ 3. Rational Dragon là thứ 3. Thứ 2. Và Good Rabbit là đầu tiên. Well done. Good job everybody. Hey, xin chào các bạn nhé. I hope you had fun learning about Diwali today. Các bạn có vui lúc mà học về Diwali không? Chào các bạn nhé.
Chào các em, anh tên là Bùi Hoàng Khôi. Hôm nay chị kia dạy không được bởi vì chị bận nên hôm nay anh sẽ dạy thay nhé. Vậy bây giờ mình bắt đầu vào đọc luôn nhé. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ đọc bài The Busy Beaver. There once was a beaver who was so busy that he didn't always think things through. This beaver carelessness was becoming a problem. His dams leaked, and he always had a mess of the forest. He left trees half chewed, and worse, he felled more than he needed. Perhaps worst of all, the beaver went about his with with little thought that the tree landed right on top of the bear. And once he chewed Moose's leg thinking it was a tree. The beaver was just that careless. It was only a matter of time before something went terribly wrong. Sure enough, one day the beaver was so busy chewing on a tree that he failed to notice it was falling in his direction. The beaver woke up in the hospital with a bent leg, two broken limbs, three cracked ribs, four big bruises, five sprayed fingers, six twisted toes, seven little cuts, eight stinging cat scratches, nine more muscle, and 10 nasty silver slivers. He had spent his entire life chewing, swimming, and building. He had never sat still for a second. Now he could barely scratch his nose. At first, all the beaver could do was stare at the ceiling. But little by little, he began to heal. With lots of rest, he regained his strength. And before too long, he was trying out a pair of crutches. Eventually, Beaver was able to hobble over to the window. This was the first time he noticed his leaky dam, the mess of trees he had left half chewed, his friend's bandage, and a family of homeless birds. He realized he had a lot of work to do. Next day, Beaver embarked on a rigorous rehabilitation program. He got back on his feet, did lots of yoga, and lifted weights. While was at it, the beaver caught up to some important reading and practiced saying, "I'm sorry." Soon enough, he was ready to go home. The beaver's friend were a little worried about his return to the forest, but despite their concerns, the beaver went straight to work. The beaver started his first project. He did a full tree inspection, checked to see if there were any animal in in harm's way, and carried a frightened caterpillar to safety. Then the beaver went ahead and built the family of homeless bird a new nest. Next, next the beaver apologized to his friend for being careless and causing so much damage. To show that he meant it, he made the bear a vase for his den, and he built a canoe for the moose. The beaver's final task was to clean up the mess he had made in the forest. He hauled off the trees he left half chewed. He fixed broken branches and fixed his leaky dam. He planted saplings to replace the trees that he had felled. With the forest back in order, everyone was happier, including the beaver. His work done, the beaver got to thinking about what he might do next. He came up with lots of ideas as he got ready for bed that night. Maybe he would take a course of dam building, or he or start a band and go on tour, or take more naps. Naps. The beaver liked this idea best. Being busy doing good work was exhausting. With a yawn, the beaver laid his head down on a soft bed of leaves and fell right to sleep. All that was left for Beaver to do was dream. Anh đọc lại một lần nữa nhé. Lần thứ hai các bạn, lần thứ ba các bạn đọc cùng anh. There once was a beaver who was so busy that he didn't always think things through. This beaver carelessness was becoming a problem. His dams leaked and he always made a mess of the forest. He left trees half chewed, and worse, he felled more than he needed. Perhaps worst of all, the heavy heaver beaver went about his work with so little thought that a tree landed right on top of a bear. And once he even chewed a moose's leg, thinking it was a tree. The beaver was just that careless. It was only a matter of time before something went terribly wrong. Sure enough, one day the beaver was so busy chewing on a tree that he failed to notice it was falling in his direction. The beaver woke up in the hospital with a bent tail, two broken limbs, three cracked ribs, four big bruises, five sprayed fingers, six twisted toes, seven little cuts, eight stinging scratches, nine more sore muscle, and 10 nasty slivers. He spent his entire life chewing, swimming, and building. He had never sat still for once. Now he could barely even scratch his nose. At first, all the beaver could do is stare at the ceiling, but little by little he began to heal. With lots of rest, he regained his strength, and before too long, he was trying out a pair of crutches. Eventually, the beaver was able to hobble over to the window. This was the first time he noticed his leaky dam, the mess of trees he had left half chewed, and homeless birds. He realized he had a lot of work to do. The next day, the beaver on a rigorous rehabilitation program. He got back on his feet, did lots of yoga, and lift weights. While he was at it, the beaver caught up to some important reading. And practiced saying, "I'm sorry." Soon enough, he was ready to go home. The beaver friends were a little worried about his return to the forest, but despite their concerns, the beaver went straight to work. Before the beaver started his project, he did a full tree inspection, checked to see if there were any animals in harm's way, and carried a frightened caterpillar to safety. Then Beaver went ahead and built the family of homeless birds a new nest. Next, the beaver apologized to his friends for being careless and causing so much damage. To show that he meant it, he made the bear a vase for his den. Thank you. He built a volcano for the moose. Apology accepted. The beaver final task was to clean the mess he had made in the forest. He hauled over the trees had left chewed and used the broken branches to fix his leaky dam. He planted saplings to replace the trees he had felled. With the forest back in order, everyone was happier, including the beaver. His work done, the beaver got into thinking about what he might do next. He came up with lots of oh chờ xíu. Máy anh lỡ bị gì đó. Từ từ nha. Tự nhiên máy của anh chọn um, tự nhiên oh my god. Các bạn chờ một xíu nhé. Cuốn sách tự nhiên bị mất mà anh không biết luôn. Anh tìm thấy rồi. Vậy. Ok. Xin lỗi các bạn nhé. His work done, the beaver got to thinking about what he might do next. He came up with lots of ideas. He got ready for bed that night. Maybe he would take a course on dam building, or start a band and go on tour, or take more naps. The beaver liked this idea best. Being busy doing good work. All that was left for Beaver to do was dream. Bây giờ anh mời các bạn đọc nhé. Anh mời bạn Nguyễn Ngọc Anh. Bạn Nguyễn. Okay. Yeah. There once was a beaver who was so busy that he didn't always think things through.
Anh đọc chậm lại cho em nghe đi.
Okay. There once was a beaver.
One beaver
Who was so busy that he didn't always think things through.
Just he couldn't always
Things through. Là things. Đọc từng câu một nhé. Things. Through. Always. Câu này em cũng sai nhé. Đúng rồi. Cảm ơn bạn Nguyễn Ngọc Anh nhé.
Yes.
Anh mời bạn Adam.
Yeah.
This beaver carelessness was becoming a problem.
This beaver's carelessness was becoming a problem.
His dams leaked, and he always made a mess of the forest.
His dams leaked, and he always made a mess of the forest.
Là leaked, nha em nhớ phát âm chữ ed ở đằng sau. He left trees half chewed, and worse, he felled more than he needed.
He left trees half chewed, and worse, he felled more than he needed.
Cảm ơn bạn Adam nhé. Anh mời bạn Silver. Bạn Silver có đọc không?
Dạ.
Bạn nhớ dùng tên thật của các bạn nhé, đừng có đặt tên tùm lum và những mấy người trong game gì đó. Perhaps worst of all, the beaver went about his work with so little thought.
Gathered a tree, landed right on top of the bear, and
Em đọc sau khi anh đọc nhé. And once he even chewed the moose's leg, thinking it was a treat. The beaver was just that careless.
And once he even chewed a moose's leg, thinking it was a treat. The beaver was just that careless.
Cảm ơn bạn Silver nhé. Mời bạn Dorothy.
Yes.
It was only a matter of time before something went terribly wrong.
It was only a matter of time before something went terribly wrong.
Matter of time.
Matter of time.
Matter of time.
Matter of time.
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 Before
Something
something went terribly wrong.
terribly wrong.
Sure enough, one day the beaver was so busy chewing on the tree that he failed to notice it was falling in his direction.
So okay. One day the bear was so busy chewing on a tree that he failed to notice it was falling in his direction.
Em đọc lại nhưng chậm thôi nhé. Sure enough, one day the beaver was so busy chewing on a tree that he failed to notice it was falling in his direction.
So okay. One day the bear was so busy chewing on a tree that he failed to notice it was falling in his grass.
Failed to notice it was falling in his direction. Em đọc lại câu này được không? Notice. Rồi. Cảm ơn bạn Dorothy nhé.
Thank you, teacher.
Anh mời bạn không muốn đặt tên, thế thì lần sau em đặt tên Đại nhé.
The beaver woke up in a hospital.
In the
hospital with a bent tail, two broken limbs, three cracked ribs, four big bruises, five
sprained like fingers,
six
twisted toes,
seven little
toes,
cuts, eight
stinging,
scratches, nine sore
muscles,
and 10 nasty liver.
Cảm ơn bạn không muốn đặt tên nha. Anh mời bạn May.
Yes.
He had spent his entire life chewing, swimming, and building. He had never sat still for a second. Now he could barely even scratch his nose.
He had spent his entire life chewing, swimming, and building. He had never sat still for a second. Now he could barely even scratch his nose.
Barely, nha.
Yeah, barely.
Mời bạn San Erico Thomas. The beaver could do was stare at the ceiling, but little by little, he began to heal.
He began to habitual with
Lots of rest.
He
He regained his strength. And before too long, he was trying out a pair of crutches.
And before too long, he was trying out a pair of
Pair of clutches. Crutches.
crutches.
Rồi, cảm ơn bạn Sans Erica Thomas nha. Chị Jenny mở cam lên, bạn lần sau đặt tên đàng hoàng nhé. Mà mời bạn luôn nhé. Eventually, the beaver was able to hobble over the window.
Eventually, the beaver
Was
able
able
hobby over the window
to hobble
to hobble
over the window.
over the window.
This was the first time he noticed his leaky dam. The mess of
This was the first time to notice.
he noticed.
He noted his leaky dam.
The mess of trees he had left half chewed, his friend bandages, and a family of homeless birds.
The mist of trees he has left half. Treadwell, his friend
Bandages. But they are
bandages, half
chewed. Mm.
in a family homeless birds.
Family of homeless birds. He realized he had a lot of work to do.
He
realized
he has a lot of work to do.
Đây là had nha. Và bạn nhớ chỉnh lại tên của mình nhé. Mời bạn Phạm Quốc Bảo. The next day, the beaver embarked on a rigorous rehabilitation program.
The next day, the beaver embarked on a rigorous rehabilitation program.
He got back on his feet. Did lots of yoga. And lifted weights. While he was at it, the beaver caught up on some important reading.
While he was at it, the beaver
The beaver caught up on some important reading and practiced saying, "I'm sorry." Soon enough, he was ready to go home. Rồi, cảm ơn bạn Phạm Quốc Bảo nhé. Anh mời bạn Johnny.
Yes.
The beaver's friends were a little worried about his return to the forest.
The beaver's friends were a little worry about his run to the forest.
Return.
But
despite their concerns, the beaver went straight to work.
But despite their
concerns,
the beaver went straight to work.
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Johnny nhé. Tiếp theo anh mời bạn Lisa.
Before
the beaver started his first project, he did a full tree inspection.
Before the beaver started his first project, he did a full
Tree
tree
inspection. Check to see if there were any animals in harm's way.
Check to see if the were animals in harm's way.
Were nhé em. The carried a frightened caterpillar to safety.
And Catherine is certain cast
Frightened caterpillar to safety.
to city. When
Then the beaver went ahead and built for the family of homeless birds a new nest.
then the beavers went ahead and pushed the family home
of
a
homeless
homeless
birds
a homeless
nest.
bird a new nest.
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Lisa nhé. Mời bạn Mai Chuẩn Phong.
Yeah.
Next, the beaver apologized to his friends for being careless and causing so much damage. Em đọc okay. Bạn Mai Trần Phong đọc đi. Bạn không đọc à, anh mời bạn khác nhé. Anh mời lại anh mời bạn Ngọc Kiên.
Next, the beaver apologized to his friend
for being careless. And causing so much damage. To show that he meant it, he made the bear a vase for his den. And he built a canoe for the moose. Cảm ơn bạn Ngọc Kiên nhé. Anh mời bạn Johnny. The beaver's final task was to clean up the mess he had made in the forest. But Johnny, Rồi tắt mic rồi ạ, để anh mời bạn nhé.
Okay. The beaver's final task was to clean up the mess he had made in the forest.
He hauled over the tree he had left half chewed.
He hauled off the trees had left half chewed.
Had half chewed. Used the broken branch to fix his leaky dam.
Use the broken branches to fish his leaky dam.
And planted saplings to replace the trees he had felled.
And planted saplings to
replace the trees he had felled.
He had felled.
Cảm ơn bạn Johnny nhé. Bây giờ anh sẽ mời một bạn Đại nhé. Dù bạn không giơ tay mình cũng phải đọc thôi nhé. Anh mời bạn Nguyễn Hồng Nhung. Đọc nhé em. With the forest back in order, everyone was happier. Em đọc đi em. Bạn Nguyễn Hồng Nhung có đọc không? Ok. Vậy anh mời bạn Lê Hữu Tiến. Bạn Lê Hữu Tiến đọc đi. Bạn Lê Hữu Tiến lớp 2 có nghe thấy anh không? Bạn Lê Hữu Tiến ơi. Ok. Anh mời bạn khác nhé. Anh mời bạn Nhi.
Yes.
With the forest back in order, everyone was happier, including the beaver.
With the forest back in order, everyone was happier, including the beaver.
Ok. Cảm ơn bạn Mi nhé. Anh mời bạn Among Us. Bạn Among Us có đọc không? Vậy em mời bạn khác nhé. Anh mời bạn Nguyễn Nhật Nam.
Anh ơi, anh có thể đọc cho em được không?
Dạ. Đọc á?
Dạ.
His work done, the beaver got to a thinking about what he might do next.
His work done, the beaver
Got
to
thinking
about
about what he might do next.
do next.
He came up with lots of ideas.
He came up with lots of ideas.
As he got ready for bed that night,
as he got ready for bed that night.
Maybe he could take a course on dam building.
Maybe he would talk a
Course on dam building.
course on dam
Building.
building.
Or start a band and go on tour.
Or start a band and go off from.
Or take more naps. The beaver liked the idea best.
Or talk more naps. The beaver
Liked
liked
this idea
this idea
best.
best.
Ok, cảm ơn bạn Nguyễn Nhật Nam nhé. Anh mời bạn Jack King.
Or start up.
Hình như em là Dorothy đúng không?
Em là Jack King mà anh.
Ok. Nhiều tên quá. Nhiều tên. Ok. Being
busy doing good work
good
was
exhausting.
exhausting. With a yawn, a beaver laid his head down on a soft bed of leaf and fell right to sleep. All that was left for the beaver to do was dream.
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Jack King nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ làm quiz nhỏ. Anh sẽ mở chat, các bạn ghi đáp án vào chat nhé. The beaver was careless. What does this mean? He didn't think about others. He liked trees. Ghi một đáp án thôi nhé. Bạn San Arkel Thomas, bạn ghi một đáp án thôi nhé. Để anh chọn A. Đúng rồi. What is one way the beaver hurt someone? Bạn San Arkel Thomas, nghe anh không? Bạn đừng có ghi một đáp án thôi nhé. What was the way the beaver hurt someone? He spent all of his money at the store. He chewed on the moose's leg. Anh chọn B nhé. Bạn Henry với bạn San Erico đừng có ghi một đáp án thôi, với bạn Lisa nữa đừng một đáp án thôi, anh xin á. Why was the beaver in the hospital? He liked doctors. He dropped a tree on himself. Vậy anh chọn B nhé. Why did the animal run away from Beaver when he returned? A đúng không? Sai rồi nhá. Là B cộng. How did the beaver show the bear he was sorry? By saying sorry and making him a vase. By sending an email. Bạn chọn A nhé. A đúng rồi nhá. What is the one thing Beaver did after fixing his mistakes? Start a band. Go skydiving. Bạn chọn A nhé. B, A đúng rồi nhé. Vậy anh tạo quiz cho mọi người nhé. Chờ xíu mà anh hơi kém. Chờ xíu mà anh hơi kém. Ok, anh bắt đầu gửi link nhé. Ok, anh gửi link đây chờ chích. Anh kèm tí nên là ok. Ờ, đây, các bạn chờ rồi nhé. Anh bắt đầu nhé. Anh cũng biết các em. Vậy mình làm một quiz nữa nhé. Quiz mới cài đặt hay sao ấy, nên nó hơi khó. Các bạn chờ một xíu. Các bạn chơi cái này nhé. Thế bạn làm xong chưa? Ok, bắt đầu. anh N nhé. Chúc mừng bạn Nice Cat và bạn Mario. Ok, vậy mình bắt đầu đọc sách tiếp nhé. Ờ, ờ, Bây giờ anh sẽ bắt đầu dạy tiết của anh. Anh sẽ screen để đọc sách tiếp nhé. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ đọc bài Ada Twist Scientist. Ada Marie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced on her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break, the trails of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight, but didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Her parents was frazzled, but tried not to freak. As Ada grew up and and still did not speak clearly, Ada, with lot in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. It was that just happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house in fact-finding spree. She climbed up the clock as high as she could. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked, "Why?" Her parents yelled stop, as all good parents would. Why does she tick? Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call the daughter clock? Why are the pointy things stuck to a rose? And why are these hair up inside your nose? She started with why, and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled. At curious thought, a curious child who wanted to know what world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Her parents kept up and their high-flying kid. Why? Whose question and chaos both grew as she did. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada's twist. She had all the traits and a great scientist. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sound that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stretch whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma that curled up her toes. Zowie, said Ada, which got her to thinking, what's the source of this terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? And and does it still stink if there's no? She rattled off question and tapped her on her chin. She start at the start, where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. She did research to learn all she would of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. The test and she test and test, but soon Ada knew that it was time to come with a hypothesis too. Then Zowie, the stink struck again. Just like that, hypothesis too. It was caused by the cat. Cat couldn't make such a stink by its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada the test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now. By the time we count three, enough, said her mother. That's it. Her dad, her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said no. What? Ada queried. Her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once more could say nothing at all. So Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question and then she asked it two. And each of those led her to three questions more, and some of those questions result to four. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Her parents calmed down, but they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch bare paint could be seen on the wall. Her thinking chair was the great thinking hall. They watched the young daughter and sighed as as they did, what would they do with this curious kid? Who would want to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We'll figure it out." And so that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and heart that is true. They remade their world. Now that's all in act of helping young Ada sort the fiction from facts. She asked lots of questions. How could she resist? Is that all in her heart of a young scientist? And as for the smell, what can Ada Twist do? She learned all she can with her friends in grade 2. Will they discover the stink that curs toes? Well, that's the question. And someday, who knows? Anh đọc lại nhé. Ada Marie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced on her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and make her big break, with the trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight, and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak. As Ada grew bigger but still didn't speak clearly, young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled stop, as all parents would, good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked why. Why does the tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it the daughter clock? Why are the pointy things stick to a rose? And why are their hair up inside your nose? She started with why and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts in her curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid. Those questions and chaos both grew as she did. Even Miss Greer found her hands quite full when young Ada chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the trait of a great scientist. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma curled up her nose. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her to thinking. Is the source of that terrible thinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to smell? She rattled off question and tapped her chin. She started where she ought to begin, a mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells both stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from that cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Then Zowie, the stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2. It's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink by its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada test and test was a flop. Then she started again, but her parents yelled stop. Oh, oops. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now. By the time we count 3, enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Asked the question. Ada questioned. Her mother said no. What? Ada queried. Her father said go. You ruined our supper, said you've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat alone by herself in the hall. Ada once more could say nothing at all. So Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experience made such a big mess. Does it has to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of the terrible stinking? Ida Marie did what scientists do. She asked small questions and then she asked 2. And each of those led her to 3 questions more. And those questions result in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her question and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she read why once again. Her parents calmed down and they came to talk. They looked at the hallway just to have Glock. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair was now the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid? Who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, we'll figure it out. And that's what they did, because that's what you do. When your kid is passionate and heart, that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asked a lot of questions. How could she resist? It's all in her heart of a young scientist. And as for the smell, what Ada Twist do? She learned all she can with her friends in grade 2. Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that's a question. And someday, who knows? Bây giờ anh mời các bạn đọc nhé. Anh mời Trần Huỳnh Anh Phúc.
Yes.
Adamarie
Adamarie.
said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound.
Adamarie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around,
Observing
observing the world but not making a sound.
observing the world.
Observing.
She learned how to climb and made her big break, with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight, and she didn't slow down till she conked down at night.
She learned how to climb and made her big break, with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day, chasing each sound and sight, and this didn't slow down till he come out at night.
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Trần Huỳnh Anh Phúc nhé. Anh mời bạn Minh Châu.
Yes.
Her parents were frazzed, but tried not to freak.
Her parents were friends, but not to
Tried
not to press
freak.
freak.
As Ada grew bigger and still did not speak.
As Ada pressed this way, as she does not scared.
Speak clearly, young Ada with lots in her head.
Clean said Ada with lots in her
Head would have something to say when it ought to be said.
We did have with something to say when it's August to be
Ought.
said.
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Minh Châu nhé. Anh mời bạn Nguyễn Ngọc Anh.
Yes.
That's just what happened when Ada turned 3.
Yes.
She tore through the house in fact-finding spree and
Anh đọc
climbed
chậm
up the
cho em.
clock just as high as... Okay. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3.
Yes, will have the trees.
Okay, anh đọc chậm cực nha. That's
Yes.
Just
Yes.
what
Was.
sao em cười em? Happened
Happens
when Ada turned 3.
Other trees.
She tore through the house.
Before to a house.
The house.
Your house.
The house.
Your house.
On fact-finding spree.
Con vội phi. Con em đọc. For the breeze.
On facts finding spree.
a fast falling bridge,
and climbed up the clock.
and cried for the first
Clock
course.
just as high as she could.
Yes, a coy and the goose.
Just as high as she could.
Yet all high as he could.
Her parents yelled, "Stop!
The veil yelled taps,
Stop! Stop!"
taps.
Ada's chin quivered.
Edison covers.
Chin quivered.
Chin covers.
But she did not cry.
The sea did not rise.
She took a deep breath
Stop with success.
and she simply asked, "Why?"
And he wonderingly asked why.
As she simply asked, "Why?"
And he wonderingly asked why.
Em có nhìn thấy chữ không?
Dạ thấy.
Em đọc lại được không? Em đọc giống như là as she đọc as she simply asked why.
As he simply
Simply
why. Why.
Cảm ơn bạn Nguyễn Ngọc Anh nhé.
Yes.
Anh mời bạn Adam.
Yeah.
Why does the tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hair up inside your nose?
Why
Bạn Adam
does
đọc.
it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hair up inside of your nose?
She started with why and then what and how. What, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazzled parents smiled at a curious thought of a curious child who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out."
She started with why and then what, how and when. By the bedtime, he came back to why once again. She dropped to sleep as her dazzled parents smiled at the chorus
Curious.
thoughts of their curious child, who want to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out."
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Adam nhé. Anh mời bạn Miu Miu 9 tuổi.
Yes.
Her parents kept up with her high-flying kid.
Her pet kept up wide
With
the high flying
kid.
kid.
Those questions and chaos both grew as she did.
Who question and just both dream As she died.
Did.
Did.
Cảm ơn bạn Miu Miu 9 tuổi nhé. Anh mời bạn Dorothy.
Yes.
Even Miss Greer found her hand quite full.
Even Miss Gray found her hand weak.
Were quite full.
Were quite full.
When young Ada wreaked havoc at school.
When your other is tell have a spoon.
But this much was clear about Miss Ada's twist.
This much was clear about Miss Addington's
Ada twist.
other twist.
She had all the traits of a great scientist.
She has the trait of a great scientist.
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 Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Dorothy nhé.
Thank you.
Anh mời bạn Trương.
Mời ai đó, mời ai?
Ada was busy that first day of spring. Em đọc đi. Em Trương.
Tôi đọc quá dưỡng nha. Có đọc lên chưa vậy nha. Không thì con đọc giùm anh hai, anh người ta chờ cái tốn thời gian. Tôi đọc theo đây nè. Không có giữ mặt nghe chưa? Mẹ không thích như vậy đâu. Con đọc theo nha mọi nha.
Ada was busy that first day of spring.
Không đọc kỹ được.
Ada.
Was busy first day of spring. Testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing. When a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma that curled up her toes Zowie, said Ada.
Sorry, said Ada.
Which got her to thinking. Got her to thinking. What is the source
The sources. Terrible. Thinking.
How does a nose know where some to smell?
The smell.
And does Does it still stink? If there's no nose
No nose.
to tell,
To tell.
she rattled
She
rattled
rattled
off questions
Operation.
and tapped on her chin.
Lớn lên.
and she
Lớn lên.
She'd start at the start. The start.
Stop.
Where she
nesting.
where she ought to begin.
Lớn lên.
A mystery,
Listen.
a riddle, a puzzle,
A puzzle.
a question, a quest. A quest. Em đọc lớn lên.
A quest.
This was the moment
The moment
that Ada loved best.
that adults are both flat.
Đúng rồi, cảm ơn bạn Trương nhé. Bây giờ anh sẽ mời bạn Lucy Ngân.
I'm here.
Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good.
Ada did research to learn all she could
Could.
of smelling and smells, both the
Stinky and
good.
they're both one hypothesis
One hypothesis
Ada thought could be true.
Ada thought could be true.
The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew.
The template,
The terrible
the terrible
stink
came from Dad's cabbage
stew.
stew.
They tested and tested. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew.
She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew.
It was time to come up with hypothesis 2.
It was time to come up with hypothesis 2.
Cảm ơn bạn Lucy Ngân nhé. Anh mời bạn Nguyễn Hồng Nhung. Then Zowie, the stink struck again. Em đọc đi em. Bạn Nguyễn Hồng Nhung có đọc không? Ok, em đọc to lên nhé. Then Zowie, the stink struck again, just like that. Em đọc đi em. Nếu em đang đọc thì em không nghe thấy em nhé. Ờ, anh không nghĩ là em đọc, nên anh mời bạn khác nhé. Anh sẽ mời bạn Tú Quyên. Bạn Tú Quyên có đọc không? Ok, em đọc nhé. Then Zowie, the stink struck again, just like that.
The Zoe just again, just like that.
Hypothesis 2. It was caused by the cat. Hypothesis 2. It caused by a cat.
It's caused by a cat.
The cat couldn't make such a stink by its own.
The cat now made
It by its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. Em đọc đi em. Bạn Nguyễn Tú Quyên. Phải đọc chưa hết chứ? Chắc bạn không tập trung. Vậy bây giờ cũng sắp hết giờ nên anh tạo quiz cho các bạn để làm nhé. Anh gửi lên chat nhé. Vậy nhầm. Các bạn rồi nhé. Anh bắt đầu nhé.
Goodbye.
Anh nhé. Chúc mừng các bạn Khoa, Nice và bạn Tường Châu. Và thời gian của anh cũng đã hết. Vậy cảm ơn các em và chào các em nhé.